John Carter stood by the window of the diplomatic tower, looking out at the gleaming spires of the Galactic Confederation headquarters. He adjusted his plain gray suit, deliberately chosen to appear modest and unassuming. The aliens shouldn't suspect that underneath, he wore a quantum mesh bodysuit capable of stopping most energy weapons. "They're ready for us now," said Susan White, entering the room. Her simple blue dress concealed similar protections. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had studied the Confederation species extensively, but always pretended to be learning the basics when in their presence. John nodded. "Remember, we're just simple humans, eager to learn." This charade had begun 3 years ago, when the first Confederation scout ships detected Earth. Initial scans had somehow missed the vast underground cities, the orbital defense networks disguised as communication satellites, and the fleet hidden on the far side of the moon. Earth's leaders had quickly decided to turn this mistake into an advantage. "Ambassador Ross is already in the chamber," Susan said. "He's playing his part perfectly, acting impressed by their basic gravity manipulation technology." They walked together down the corridor, passing aliens of various species. The insectoid Vexar clicked their mandibles in what humans now recognized as disdain. The towering Galurians barely acknowledged them. Only the Novan representatives, themselves a relatively new addition to the Confederation, offered friendly gestures. In the Grand Council chamber, William Ross was nodding enthusiastically as a Shurnav diplomat explained interstellar trading protocols as if to a child. Yes, this is all so fascinating," Ross said with practiced wide-eyed wonder. "Earth would be honored to begin trade negotiations." John and Susan took their seats behind Ross. Through their earpieces, they heard Laura Miller's voice from Earth Command. "Intelligence confirms they're still buying it. Their scans of our ships show only the conventional drives we've allowed them to see." The head of the council, High Administrator Zelvin, raised a tentacled limb for silence. "The council recognizes Earth's petition for protected status while integrating into Confederation systems. Are there any objections?" A Vexar representative stepped forward. "These humans have only just achieved basic interstellar flight. What value do they add to our Confederation? Their world has abundant resources that could be better managed by more advanced species." John tensed, but kept his face neutral. This was exactly the attitude they had feared. Ross played his role perfectly. "We may be new to the stars, but humans are quick learners. We offer unique biological compounds and cultural exchanges." "Cultural exchanges," the Vexar clicked dismissively. "We need resources, not primitive art." The Novan representative intervened. "My species was once new to the Confederation too. The humans deserve time to develop, as we were given." After more debate, the Council granted Earth provisional protected status, the lowest level of recognition possible. As the session ended, John overheard 2 Galurian officials speaking, not realizing that humans had developed universal translators far more sophisticated than the clunky devices the Confederation had provided. "These humans are barely worth the diplomatic effort," one said, "but their world is rich in rare minerals." "Patience," said the other. "Once their provisional status expires, there are ways to arrange for more direct access to those resources." Back in the Secure Earth Embassy, John, Susan, and Ross met with Alan Wright, Earth's intelligence chief, who had been monitoring the proceedings remotely. "They see us exactly as we want them to," Alan said. "Primitive, naive, and resource-rich." "I don't like how the Vexar were looking at us," Susan replied. "Like we're livestock." "That's why we maintain the deception," John said firmly. "Earth Command estimates we need another 5 years to fully understand Confederation technology and politics. Until then, we smile, we nod, and we keep our real capabilities hidden." Ross looked at the message from President Green on his secure tablet. "Continue the facade. Learn everything. Trust no one." "Let them underestimate us," Alan said. "History is full of empires that fell because they dismissed their primitive opponents." Outside, the Confederation capital glittered with advanced technology. Little did they know that beneath Earth's seemingly simple exterior lay a civilization that had nearly destroyed itself in war after war, only to emerge united and more technologically advanced than any of them suspected. For now, humanity would watch, learn, and wait. The sky over New Horizon Colony turned dark as 5 Vexar ships entered the atmosphere. Paul Jones watched from the colony's main observation deck, his face grim but calm. As colony administrator, he had prepared for this possibility since the day they broke ground on this distant world. "Status report," he said quietly into his communicator. Kate Brown, the colony's security director, responded immediately. "All settlers moving to Shelter B7, as planned. Defense systems are powered down as ordered by Earth Command. We look completely defenseless, just as we're supposed to." Paul nodded. The colony on New Horizon was part of humanity's careful deception. From orbit, it appeared to be a basic settlement with minimal defenses, exactly what would be expected from a primitive species just beginning to explore beyond their home system. The largest Vexar ship hovered directly over the colony center. A harsh, clicking voice boomed from external speakers. "Human settlement. This is Fleet Commander Vexar. Your resources are now claimed by the Vexar Dominion. Surrender and serve, or be eliminated." Paul pressed a hidden button under his desk. "This is Colony Administrator Paul Jones. We are a peaceful settlement under Confederation protection. We have no weapons to threaten you." The last part wasn't entirely true. Hidden beneath the colony's buildings, inside artificial hills, and underwater in the nearby lake were defense systems that could reduce the Vexar fleet to dust. But revealing those now would expose humanity's deception too soon. The Vexar commander laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Protection. Your provisional status means nothing. The Confederation will accept our explanation that your colony violated territorial agreements. Now prepare to receive our harvest teams." Paul looked at his tablet. All colonists were safely in the underground bunker. He gave the next order. "Commence emergency protocol distress. Authorization. Jones Alpha 7. Greg Davis at the communication station nodded. He activated a specially designed distress beacon that appeared primitive but would reach Earth instantly through hidden quantum entanglement technology. Then he sent the official distress signal, the weak, conventional one the Vexar would expect. "Playing our part," Greg said grimly. Distress signal sent on standard Confederation emergency frequencies. The first explosion rocked the administrative building. Through the windows, Paul saw Vexar landing craft touching down in the colony's central plaza. Insect-like soldiers poured out, firing weapons at empty buildings. "They're not even trying to minimize damage," Kate reported from her hidden security post. "They're destroying infrastructure deliberately." Another blast hit closer. The observation deck shuddered, and part of the ceiling collapsed. Paul dove for cover as dust and debris filled the air. "Get to the shelter," Kate ordered through the communicator. "We've recorded enough for evidence." Paul crawled toward the hidden exit but stopped when he heard screams. Looking back, he saw 3 colonists who hadn't reached the shelters in time. The Vexar soldiers surrounded them, weapons raised. He almost activated his hidden defensive gear, but stopped himself. Breaking cover now would endanger Earth's strategy and potentially all of humanity. "Jones, move now." Kate's voice was urgent in his ear. "There's nothing you can do for them without compromising the mission." With a heavy heart, Paul slipped through the hidden door as the screams were suddenly silenced. He made his way through the concealed tunnel to Shelter B7. Inside, 23 colonists were listed as missing, presumed dead in the initial attack. Medical Officer Olivia Martinez was treating burns and injuries from the first bombardment. "How long do we stay hidden?" a frightened colonist asked. "As long as necessary," Paul answered, his voice steady despite his anger. "Earth received our message. They'll respond appropriately." Kate Brown checked her hidden military-grade tablet. "The Vexar are setting up mining equipment already. They think we're just hiding in basic shelters that they'll find soon." Below their feet, powerful engines hummed silently, ready to activate the colony's true defenses on command. But for now, they would wait, recording every atrocity, building the case for what would come next. Remember, Paul told the gathered colonists, "We're not just fighting for New Horizon. What happens here will determine how humanity is treated throughout the galaxy for generations to come." Ambassador William Ross stood before the Confederation Council, his face showing the perfect mix of distress and confusion that his position demanded. Inside, he felt nothing but cold anger. "Esteemed council members," he began, his voice carefully trembling, "I come before you with grave news. Our peaceful colony on New Horizon has been attacked without warning by Vexar forces. 23 of our people are confirmed dead, and the colony's resources are being stripped away as we speak." The massive chamber remained largely silent. A few of the smaller Confederation species showed signs of concern, but the powerful members seemed almost bored. Supreme Mandible Kest of the Vexar rose from his elevated seat. His insectoid body towered over the human ambassador. "The human exaggerates," Kest clicked dismissively. "We conducted a standard resource acquisition exercise in a sector where their claim was not fully recognized. Any casualties resulted from their own resistance." Ross played his role perfectly, appearing shocked at this callous response. "Resource acquisition exercise. You attacked a civilian settlement under Confederation protection." The Shurnav representative, a blue-skinned humanoid named Shurnav Trell, raised a slender hand. "Let us not be dramatic, Ambassador. The Vexar Dominion has submitted a formal explanation. Their surveys indicated valuable mineral deposits that were not being efficiently harvested. As the humans have only provisional status, the Vexar were within their rights to claim underutilized resources." Behind his mask of dismay, Ross carefully noted which Confederation species nodded in agreement and which seemed uncomfortable with this justification. "And what of our dead colonists?" Ross demanded, allowing his voice to rise slightly. "An unfortunate occurrence," Sure, Navtrell said smoothly. "The Vexar have offered compensation." Kest clicked his mandibles. "We value each human life lost at 500 Confederation credits. This is generous for a provisional species." 500 credits. Ross knew this would barely buy a meal at the Confederation capital's dining establishments. The insult was deliberate. In his earpiece, he heard Nancy Peterson, Earth's military advisor, whisper, "Accept it, for now." Ross swallowed his pride. The loss of human life cannot be measured in credits, but Earth acknowledges the Vexar's gesture. The Council's leader, a massive Galurian named Drekthar, waved a tentacled limb. "This matter is resolved then. The Vexar may continue their resource extraction with the agreed compensation." "If I may," Ross said quickly, "Earth requests assurances that no further resource acquisition exercises will target human settlements." Kest made the chittering sound that passed for Vexar laughter. "We make no such promises. Improve your defenses if you wish to keep your claims." As the council session adjourned, Ross walked slowly from the chamber, maintaining his facade of dejection. Once in the secure Earth embassy, he locked the door and activated the anti-surveillance measures. Nancy Peterson's hologram appeared before him. Her military uniform was crisp, her expression hard. "You heard," Ross said simply. "Every word," Nancy confirmed. President Green and the Defense Council watched the entire proceeding. "They've made their decision. The warning will be issued through official channels within the hour. The Vexar and the Council must be given one final chance to back down." Ross poured himself a drink. "They won't take it seriously. You saw how they treated us in there. They think we're nothing." "Good," Nancy said with a cold smile. "Their arrogance makes what comes next easier." "What about New Horizon?" Ross asked. "Our people are still hiding in bunkers while the Vexar tear their colony apart." "They'll hold position for now," Nancy replied. "If our warning is ignored, they'll receive new orders." She hesitated. "Admiral Martin has brought Project Thunderclap to standby alert." Ross nearly dropped his glass. Project Thunderclap was Earth's most advanced weapons system, hidden beneath the ocean floors. This was no longer about playing politics. "So we're really doing this," he said quietly. "Dropping the mask. Only if they force our hand," Nancy answered. "One more chance, Ambassador. Make our warning clear, but keep playing the role of the primitive human for just a little longer." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a chamber that didn't exist on any official maps, President Samuel Green faced the 12 members of Earth's Unified Defense Council. The mood was tense as holographic displays showed the ongoing destruction at New Horizon Colony. 27 dead now, General Richard Taylor said, his voice tight with anger. The Vexar found one of the emergency shelters. They're hunting for survivors systematically. President Green's face remained calm, but his eyes showed his fury. "And the Council's response to our protest?" Elizabeth Clark, chief diplomat, shook her head. "Less than nothing, Mr. President. They offered insulting compensation and suggested we should improve our defenses if we want to keep our colonies, which they believe we can't do." Admiral Diane Martin added. She stood by a holographic display of Earth's orbital defenses, the real ones, not the decoys shown to Confederation observers. "How much longer can our people at New Horizon hold out?" the President asked. "The bunkers have supplies for 3 months," General Taylor replied. "But morale will suffer the longer they hide while watching their home be torn apart." Frank Wilson, lead intelligence analyst, brought up a new display showing data from throughout Confederation space. "Sir, our agents report this isn't an isolated incident. In the past 5 years, 17 smaller species have lost colonies to similar resource acquisition exercises by dominant Confederation members. And none fought back successfully." Green asked. "None had the means to," Wilson confirmed. "That's the pattern. The Confederation admits species they deem non-threatening, waits until they establish resource-rich colonies, then allows the dominant members to raid them under various pretexts." The President walked slowly around the table, looking at each council member. "We've maintained this deception for 3 years. Our original plan was to continue for at least 5 more before revealing our true capabilities. The question before us is simple. Do we stay hidden, sacrificing New Horizon as part of our long-term strategy, or do we show our hand now?" General Taylor slammed his fist on the table. "We should hit them hard and fast. The Vexar fleet at New Horizon would make an excellent example." Elizabeth Clark countered immediately. "And then what? We'd expose ourselves to the entire Confederation before we fully understand their technology and politics. We need more time. Time bought with the lives of our colonists," Taylor shot back. Admiral Martin, who had remained quiet, finally spoke. "Project Thunderclap is ready, sir. We can deploy targeted strikes that will eliminate the Vexar threat without revealing all our capabilities." The President nodded. "The middle path. I like it." He turned to Communications Director Steve Parker. "Prepare a final warning to be delivered through official channels. Clear language, no diplomatic niceties." "The text, sir?" Parker asked, fingers ready on his tablet. "Keep it simple. Further aggression against human settlements will not be tolerated and will result in significant consequences. Add formal diplomatic language around it, but that's the core message." Elizabeth Clark frowned. "They won't take it seriously, Mr. President. To them, we're still primitive newcomers." "I'm counting on that," Green replied with a grim smile. "Their dismissal of our warning gives us legal and moral standing to respond when they inevitably ignore it." He turned to Admiral Martin. "Bring Project Thunderclap to full alert status. Authorization code. Earth's final warning." The chamber's lights dimmed slightly as power was diverted to the planetary defense grid. Hidden weapons platforms throughout Earth's oceans and in orbit around its colonies powered up silently. "And New Horizon?" General Taylor asked. "Tell Paul Jones and his people to stay hidden for 24 more hours," the President ordered. "If the Vexar haven't withdrawn by then." He paused, his expression hardening. "Then we stop pretending to be polished. The council members nodded in understanding. Humanity had tried to play by the Confederation's rules, had endured insults, and now attacks. Their patience had reached its end. Ambassador William Ross stood before the Confederation Council once more. This time, he deliberately held himself differently. There was less bowing, less deference in his posture. Only the most observant council members would notice this subtle change. Esteemed council, Ross began, his voice firm. I bring a formal message from Earth's unified government regarding the ongoing Vexar attack on our New Horizon colony. Supreme Mandible Kest clicked impatiently. This matter was resolved in our previous session, human. The compensation was agreed upon. Not by Earth, Ross replied evenly. He unfolded a simple paper document, a deliberate choice to reinforce the image of human technological simplicity, and read aloud. Further aggression against human settlements will not be tolerated and will result in significant consequences. The Vexar forces must withdraw from New Horizon immediately. A moment of silence fell over the chamber. Then laughter erupted from multiple species. The massive Galurian representative rumbled with amusement, while the Shurnav diplomat covered her mouth politely. Kest's mandibles clicked rapidly in what Ross now recognized as his species' equivalent of mocking laughter. Consequences. From humans, your ships can barely achieve light speed. Your weapons are primitive projectiles. What consequences could you possibly deliver? Ross maintained his composure, exactly as instructed. That is our formal warning. Earth requests an immediate response. The council leader, Drekthar, waved a tentacled limb dismissively. The council acknowledges receipt of Earth's communication. It will be entered into the record. Kest stepped forward, his insectoid eyes fixed on Ross. Let me be perfectly clear, Ambassador. Not only will our operation at New Horizon continue, but the Supreme Nest has approved a full harvesting operation. Your colony's resources will be completely extracted. And the colonists? Ross asked, knowing the answer. Those who surrender will be permitted to serve in our resource facilities. The rest are obstacles to efficient extraction. Ross took a deep breath. I urge you to reconsider, Supreme Mandible. Withdraw your forces now. Or what? Kest's voice was filled with contempt. Or face the consequences, Ross replied simply. As Ross left the council chamber, he felt the stares of the various species, some pitying, most amused, none taking Earth's warning seriously. In the secure communication room of the Earth Embassy, he activated the quantum entanglement device. Warning delivered and dismissed, as expected, he reported to President Green. The Vexar have announced plans for a full harvesting operation of New Horizon. The president's face was grim on the secure display. Understood. We gave them their chance. On the diplomatic shuttle back to his quarters, Ross was approached by Lisa Turner, ostensibly a communications officer, but actually one of Earth's top intelligence agents. Sir, she said quietly, I've intercepted Vexar communications. New Horizon is just the beginning. They've added Earth itself to their future expansion plans. Ross nodded. Not surprising. They see us as easy prey. There's more, Lisa continued. 5 more Vexar warships have entered the New Horizon system. They're not hiding their intentions anymore. Ross looked out the shuttle window at the gleaming Confederation capital. For 3 years, he had played the role of the humble diplomat from a primitive world. The charade had grown tiring. Has the president given the order? He asked. Lisa nodded. Protocol unveiled has been activated. Authorization code. Earth's final warning. For the first time in days, Ross allowed himself a genuine smile. How long until the Vexar reach New Horizon? Approximately 12 hours. And our response? Already in position, Lisa replied. Colony Administrator Jones received his new orders 30 minutes ago. Admiral Martin has Thunderclap assets in place throughout the system. Ross leaned back in his seat, feeling the weight of the past 3 years lifting from his shoulders. When does the president want me to address the council again? After the demonstration, Lisa said. They need to see what we're capable of before they'll listen to what you have to say. The shuttle docked at the diplomatic residence. As Ross stepped out, a group of Vexar diplomats passed by, deliberately bumping into him. "Watch where you're going, human," one clicked. Ross straightened his jacket and smiled politely. "Enjoy your superiority while it lasts," he said softly, too quietly for the translator to pick up. Tomorrow, everything would change. Fleet Commander Vizcree of the Vexar stood on the bridge of his flagship, mandibles clicking with satisfaction as 5 more warships joined his fleet in orbit around New Horizon. The human colony below continued to burn in places, with extraction machines already pulling valuable minerals from the ground. "Status report," he demanded of his second-in-command. "The human resistance has ceased completely," came the reply. "Our teams have located 3 of their primitive shelter locations. The humans inside were added to the work groups or eliminated if they resisted. And the others? Still hiding, Commander. Our sensors detect underground spaces we haven't yet accessed." Vizcree made a dismissive gesture. "They'll either starve or surrender eventually. Begin the full harvesting operation. I want this planet stripped of useful resources within 30 days. On the colony surface, hidden beneath the ruins of what had appeared to be the main administrative building, Hall Jones received the encrypted message from Earth Command. His eyes widened as he read it. "It's time," he told Kate Brown, who had been maintaining the colony's hidden defense systems in standby mode. "Protocol unveiled is active." Kate's face showed grim satisfaction. Finally, she turned to her control panel, entering a complex series of commands. "Defensive systems coming online. All platforms report green status." Paul addressed the gathered colonists. "Everyone stay in the shelter. What happens next may be intense." In orbit, a junior Vexar officer suddenly stood straight, his antennae quivering. "Commander, energy readings from the surface. Multiple locations showing power signatures." "Impossible," Vizcree snapped. "Their technology is primitive. Recalibrate your sensors." "Sir, the readings err." The officer stopped mid-sentence, staring at his display. "Sir, objects are emerging from the planet's surface, ocean, and orbit. Across New Horizon, the colony's true defenses revealed themselves. What had appeared to be simple water storage tanks rose from the ground, splitting open to reveal advanced energy weapons. Hidden doors in hillsides slid away, exposing missile batteries. From the colony's small lake, a sleek defense platform rose on silent anti-gravity lifts. In orbit, what the Vexar had dismissed as simple communication satellites suddenly changed shape, weapons ports opening along their sides. From the far side of New Horizon's moon, objects that had registered as natural asteroids began to move with purpose, surrounding the Vexar fleet. On the flagship's bridge, chaos erupted. "We're surrounded," shouted the tactical officer. Weapons locks from multiple vectors. Commander Vizcree stared in disbelief at the tactical display. "Impossible. The humans are a primitive species. They barely achieved spaceflight." On the surface, Kate Brown smiled coldly as she brought the colony's defense network fully online. Targeting Vexar flagship. All other vessels targeted by orbital platforms. Paul Jones opened a communication channel. "Vexar fleet, this is New Horizon colony. You were warned. You chose not to listen." In the flagship, Vizcree heard the human's voice and chittered in anger. "Fire all weapons. Destroy their defenses." Before a single Vexar weapon could discharge, space itself seemed to tear open around New Horizon. 7 points of swirling energy appeared, and through each emerged a sleek, black human warship unlike anything the Confederation had ever seen. Admiral Diane Martin sat on the bridge of the lead vessel, her face illuminated by holographic displays. Project Thunderclap units deployed successfully. All ships report quantum transit complete with no degradation. She opened a channel to all human forces. "This is Admiral Martin. Execute Precision Strike Alpha. Disable weapons and propulsion only. I repeat, disable only. We're making a point. not starting a war. The human vessels moved with impossible speed, firing weapons that seemed to bypass Vexar shields completely. Targeted strikes hit weapons arrays, engine housings, and command centers with surgical precision. On his flagship, Commander V's cry watched in horror as system after system failed. What is happening? How do they have this technology? The communication screen activated, showing Admiral Martin's face. Commander V's Cree, your fleet is disabled. Your weapons are offline. Your engines are disabled. This is humanity's real face. We gave you a warning. You should have listened. 2 months after Earth's revelation, the Galactic Confederation had changed dramatically. Ambassador William Ross sat in his new office in the Confederation Tower, a space previously reserved only for representatives of the most powerful species. Across from him sat Nix Ella, the new Vexar representative who had replaced Supreme Mandible Kest after the rapid government change in their empire. The reparation payments to New Horizon families will be completed by the end of the month, Nix Ayla said, her mandibles moving carefully in the gesture of respect the Vexar rarely showed to other species, and our military has withdrawn from all disputed territories. Ross nodded. Earth appreciates your cooperation. We believe this new beginning will benefit both our species in the long run. After Nix Ayla left, diplomatic advisor Heather Rodriguez entered with the latest reports. The balance of power continues to shift throughout Confederation space, she said. 3 more previously dominated species have requested Earth's protection under the new accords. Ross reviewed the requests. Approved. Make sure Admiral Martin positions defensive assets in their systems, but visibly. We want potential aggressors to see them clearly. On New Horizon, reconstruction moved quickly. The colony now openly displayed its advanced technology, with Paul Jones overseeing the rebuilding efforts. Kate Brown had been promoted to security coordinator for the entire sector, working with other vulnerable species to establish proper defenses. The mining equipment left by the Vexar has been repurposed, Paul told the colonists gathered in the new community center, and 5 neighboring species have asked to establish trade agreements with us. A young colonist raised her hand. Will the Vexar attack us again? Paul smiled reassuringly. No, they've learned their lesson, and so has the rest of the Confederation. On Earth, President Green addressed the Unified Council for the final time before his planned retirement. The chamber looked much the same as during the crisis meeting months earlier, but the mood was entirely different. The transition is proceeding well, he told the assembled leaders. Our diplomatic position has been established without further military demonstrations being necessary. General Richard Taylor, who had pushed for immediate action during the crisis, nodded in approval. Operation Unveiled has exceeded our expectations. 27 species have signed mutual defense pacts with Earth in just 2 months. And the Vexar? Asked Elizabeth Clark, who had originally advocated for continued patience. Their new government is cooperating fully, Admiral Martin reported. Internal communications show they're genuinely reforming their expansionist policies. The attempted coup by Kest's supporters was quickly suppressed. President Green looked at the holographic display showing Earth's now visible defense network. We never wanted to rule through fear. That was never our intent. And we're not, Frank Wilson, intelligence chief, assured him. The smaller species see us as protectors, not conquerors. The larger aggressors see us as equals they must respect. It's the balance we hoped for. In the deepest part of Confederation space, on a planet previously threatened by expansion from multiple larger powers, a small furry species celebrated as Earth vessels arrived in orbit. Their leader, wearing ceremonial robes, addressed his people in their main settlement. For generations, we have lived in fear of those who saw our world only for its resources. Today, that changes. The humans have shown that size and age do not determine a species' right to exist peacefully. Watching from Earth's embassy on the Confederation capital, Ross and Heather observed celebrations on dozens of worlds. Species that had once lived in constant fear now look to the future with hope. Do you think we revealed ourselves at the right time? Heather asked. Ross considered the question carefully. I believe so. Any earlier, and we might not have understood the Confederation well enough to navigate its politics. Any later, and more innocent lives would have been lost. He looked at a message from New Horizon, showing the colony's children playing safely in parks that had been battlegrounds just months before. Humanity tried warfare for thousands of years, Ross said quietly. We nearly destroyed ourselves with it. The lesson we learned was simple. Strength isn't about who can cause the most destruction. It's about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. The message Earth had sent still echoed throughout the galaxy. Stop attacking, or we stop pretending to be polished. But beneath that warning was a promise of a better way forward, for everyone.